Darrell Jazz Johnson, seconds out here with Jacob CUTMAN Duran. CUTMAN, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. You know, it's funny when Jacob's usually not a name that people recognize me by, right? And I think you're the second guy in New York that's called me Jacob, so that's kind of nice. But it's good to be here. Thanks.
So, we have a lot of boxing fanatics watching this that would love to be part of the industry. How do you get involved as a CUTMAN?
Yeah, that's a good question, Darrell. And people ask me all the time. I get doctors, paramedics, EMTs. The whole world wants to, they see what we do. But what I tell them is, look, you got to spend hours and days and weeks and months and years in the gym working with these fighters, being a fighter mentally, physically, understanding what they're going through. And then you start learning how to wrap hands. You donate your time. You do it for free. Hopefully you get the confidence of the fighter. They'll take you in to work the corner. You probably carry the bucket. So you start from ground one. You know, just because you're a doctor don't make you a good cut man. You know, I had one doctor that says, I'm good at what I do, but I wouldn't be good at what you do because for the most part, we have 50 seconds. And, we make a difference. So, yeah, you got to put time in.
Talk about that pressure, in between rounds when a fighter sustains a cut and you have those 50 seconds.
Yeah, that's a good question right there. Composure. People ask me what's the number one thing, outside of the medications, but keeping your composure. If you walk in there and your hands are shaking and, the fighter's going to react to that, so you got to make sure that fighter understands that you're there to take care of them and give them that one more round. And composure is number one.
For the historians out there, tell us about some of the fighters that you've had the pleasure of working with.
God, I've been blessed, man, from going way back to Johnny Tapia and Raul Marquez and Mike McCallum and, fast forward, Vladimir Vitaly Klitschko and Andre Ward and, Amir Khan. And God, it's just been so many. Joe Smith, I'm working with him. Gerbasi, I'm working with him. There's just so many champions that I've worked with that it's been an honor. Can't name them all.
As a cut man, you're obviously a fan of the sport. What are some fights that you would love to see happen in the next 12 months?
Well, this one tonight, I think with Beterbiev is, it's as Bob Arum said, it could be the fight of the year type of thing, right? But that's, the new guys, Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis and all these guys, that's the new generation. Shakur Stevenson, I work with Shakur. I've worked with Devin also. That's the new product, the new generation of boxers up and coming. So, put them together and see who comes out on top.
So you work with both Haney and Shakur. If they were to face each other one day and they both wanted to work with you, how do you make that decision?
Well, that's a tough one. As we were flying back or flying here to New York from Las Vegas, Devin Haney and his father Bill were on the plane with me, and they were talking about, because I had worked with them a couple of shows before, and they were talking about the fiasco that happened in Australia when Bob Ware, the cut man, couldn't make it, and they used this other guy that was horrible. They understand that it's important. So I'm going to sit down and talk to them. I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. It's not a bad problem to have, though. Shakur's a great guy. They're both good guys. So at this point, I have to make a business decision on long term. Who am I going to work with long term? And see, I don't know. Good question. I don't know.
Obviously, you could answer this question for yourself, but as an outsider looking in, what are some fights that you could say, the cut man really saved the day and gave that fighter the opportunity to come out on top in the end?
Wow, you're going into my memory bank and all that, but there's been some cut men that have done great jobs. Mike Basil is that I work with here has done a tremendous job in keeping fighters and giving them that one more round. Man, I have to go into my memory banks and let you know who has done a great job and who has not done a great job. And and I'm glad you're asking that question, because there's a lot of wannabe cut men out there. And I tell people, if you want to hire a cut man that puts a swab in his ear or he puts it in his mouth and has no gloves, then go for it. But I wouldn't recommend them. That's the safety of the fighter is so key. Like the guy that worked with Devin Haney, he had sunglasses on, couldn't see, and when the camera was on him, he would lift them up, and it was all about show. And we're not there about show. We're about taking care of these fighters.
Final question. Big fight next month overseas. Anthony Joshua against Usyk. Who do you see winning that fight and why?
Yeah, and I don't pick them who wins, who loses, and all that. My position is a little bit different. I look at the probability of cuts. What's the danger of that type of cut? But yeah, I don't know. We're all armchair quarterbacks, so that's why I don't like to make those kind of decisions. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? But of course, Anthony Joshua beat Vladimir Klitschko, and Usyk is part of the Klitschko team. So it's you're asking me who do I like better, you or him, right? So I'm not going to answer that.
Me, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Did you hear that?
So, when a fighter has been cut bad before, what's the likelihood of that cut reopening in a future fight?
Real good question, but it's slim. Because to get that same technique, that same punch, that same location, you're kind of grasping at straws. But one of the things that I look at is, let's say you did have a cut in the past, I always put more emphasis on it round by round by round. If anything, just keeping eyes on it. But yeah, the chances of that same cut opening up is slim.
Thanks a lot for your time. Darrell Jazz Johnson, Seconds Out with CUTMAN Duran.
Oh, thanks you, my man. And Robert Waterman, just found out you're still in the mix, man. It's always a pleasure.